بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. کاتێکی زۆرمان پێچوو کە نابووە بێت بەڵام کۆمەڵەش هاتنە پێشەوە ئیتر خۆی گەورە باشتر ئەزانێ خۆی تر هەرچەنە ئێستش کاتەکەی زۆر باش نییە بەزەمێت تا زوو بێ دەست پێ بکەمەوە بۆیە بە هەوڵبینکەمێ بخوێنینەوە. ئەو کتێبێک ئێستا هەڵمژاردووە بۆی کە بیخوێنەوەم جارە بە زمانی ئینگلیزیە، کتێبێکی فەیلسوفی بەناوبانگ فریدریک نیچەیە کە ناوی The Spoke Zarathustra کە بە کوردی خۆمان بە زەردەشت ئەیناسین. ئیتر وەکو ئەوەی کە هیچم بەسەر خوێندبێتەوە بەجددی نازانم، هەرویستم لەگەڵ خوێندنەوەی کتێبەکە شتێکی لەسەر فێرم و بزانم و ئاواهی نەک پێشێکی خۆم بزانم. بۆیە بە ئەنبۆکسینێکی ئەمڕاتم هەڵی وەشێنی وەرە. Noż pismo. کتێبەکە بە هەر هەمیەوە 414 لاپەڕەیە، بەڵام چەندێکی بۆ خوێندنەوە و چەندێکی بۆ خوێندنەوە نییە، تەکید نیم نازانم ئەمەشی دڕا بەداخەوە بای ناکردی. بەبایەک تۆز هەوڵ بەم کتێبەکە یەک تۆز بیکەمەوە تر دوایە دەسەکەی مەخوێندنەوەی. هەرچەند ناما بێ کاتێکی زیاتر خەریکی بیت نەک بەم چنچن و بەم سەریعیە بەس قەی ناکەم. ئیتر بزانم بەس لەوە چە زۆرمان پێ بچێت لەبەرەوەی هەم زۆرە هەم وەکوتم کاتەکەشی زۆر باشنی ئەم ماوەیە مەشغوڵترم شتێکی هەیە، بەس تەنها بە ئینگلیزیە خوێنمەوە، باوەڕ ناکەم هیچ تەرجمەیان شتێ بکەم مەگەر شتێک خۆم بمێ قسەی لەسەر کەم. ئەمە ژیاننامەی فریدریک نیچەیە و بۆ زۆر کتێب من پێشەکی و ژیاننامە ناخوێنمەوە. ئەمەشە پێشەکی پێشەکیە تاکوێ ڕەشت ئەمەشت مۆستە بەزانم on the table of content. Part 1. Çluyek. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. When Zarathustra was 30 years old, he left his home and the lake of his home, and went into the mountains. Here he had the enjoyment of his spirit and his solitude, and he did not weary of it for 10 years. But at last his heart turned, and one morning he rose with the dawn, stepped before the sun, and spoke to it thus: "Great star, what would your happiness be if you had not those for whom you shine?" ئەی ئەستێرە دڵخۆشی تۆ لەکوێ بوو ئەگەر کەسانێک نەبووایە بۆیان بدرێوشیتەوە. You have come up here to my cave for 10 years. You would have grown weary of your light and of this journey without me, my eagle and my serpent. But we waited for you every morning, took from you your superfluity and blessed you for it. Behold, I am weary of my wisdom, like a bee that has gathered too much honey. I need hands outstretched to take it. I should like to give it away and distribute it, until the wise among men have again become happy in their folly, and the poor happy in their wealth. To that end, I must descend into the depths as you do at evening, when you go behind the sea and bring light to the underworld too. Superabundant star. Like you, I must go down, as men to whom I want to descend call it. So bless me then, tranquil eye, that can behold without envy, even an excessive happiness. Bless the cup that wants to overflow, that the waters may flow golden from him and bear the reflection of your journey over all the world. Behold, this cup wants to be empty again. Zarathustra wants to be man again. Thus began Zarathustra's downgoing. عبزان راستی خرمو وانيا خالق بو اشتانو بكرة زرر ناكا Zarathustra pronunciation
Zarathustra.
Okay, Zarathustra went down the mountain alone and no one met him. But when he entered the forest, an old man who had left his holy hut to look for roots in the forest suddenly stood before him. And the old man spoke thus to Zarathustra. This wanderer is no stranger to me. He passed by here many years ago. He was called Zarathustra, but he has changed. Then you carried your ashes to the mountains. Will you today carry your fire into the valleys? Do you not fear an incendiary's punishment? An incendiary's punishment. Incendiary. Ale شتێکە ئەڵێ شتێکە کە بێتە هۆکاری دروستبوونی ئاگر یانەوە تا شتێک گەرمەکاتەوە نازانم ڕێک بە کوردی ئەگەر مانایەکی نییە بم. Yes, I recognize Zarathustra. His eyes are clear and no disgust lurks about his mouth. Does he not go along like a dancer? How changed Zarathustra is. Zarathustra has become a child, an awakened one. What do you want now with the sleepers? You lived in solitude as in the sea, and the sea bore you. Alas, do you want to go ashore? Alas, do you want again to drag your body yourself? Zarathustra answered, I love mankind. Why, said the saint, did I go into the forest and the desert? Was it not because I loved mankind all too much? Now I love God. Mankind I do not love. Man is too imperfect a thing for me. Love for mankind would destroy me. Zarathustra answered, What did I say of love? I am bringing mankind a gift. Give them nothing, said the saint. Rather take something from them, or of them, and bear it with them. That will please them best, if only it be pleasing to you. And if you want to give to them, give no more than an alms, and let them beg for that. No, answered Zarathustra, I give no alms. I am not poor enough for that. The saint laughed at Zarathustra and spoke thus, See to it that they accept your treasures. They are mistrustful of hermits, and do not believe that we come to give. Our steps ring too lonely through their streets, and when at night they hear it in their beds, a man going by long before the sun has risen. risen, they probably ask themselves, where's that thief going? Do not go to men, but stay in the forest. Go rather to the animals. Why will you not be as I am, a bear among bears, a bird among birds? And what does the saint do in the forest? Asked Zarathustra. The saint answered, I make songs and sing them, and when I make songs I laugh, weep, mutter, thus I praise God. With singing, weeping, laughing, and muttering, I praise the God who is my God. But what do you bring us as a gift? When Zarathustra heard these words, he saluted the saint and said, What should I have to give you? But let me go quickly, that I may take nothing from you. And thus they parted from one another, the old man and Zarathustra, laughing as two boys laugh. But when Zarathustra was alone, he spoke thus to his heart, Could it be possible? This old saint has not yet heard in his forest that God is dead. Astaghfirullah, بس يعني زي ما نشوف. When Zarathustra arrived at the nearest of the towns lying against the forest, he found in the very place many people assembled in the market square. For it had been announced that a tightrope walker would be appearing. And Zarathustra spoke thus to the people, I teach you the Superman. Man is something that should be overcome. What have you done to overcome him? All creatures hitherto have hitherto يعني تاكويستا up until now hitherto. All creatures hitherto have created something beyond themselves, and you want to be the ebb of this great tide, and return to the animals rather than overcome man. What is the ape to men? A laughingstock or a painful embarrassment? And just so shall man be to the Superman, a laughingstock or a painful embarrassment. You have made your way from worm to man, and much in you is still a worm. Once you were apes, and even now man is more of an ape than any ape. But he who is the wisest among you, he also is only a discord and hybrid of plant and of ghost. But do I bid you become ghosts or plants? Behold, I teach you the Superman. The Superman is the meaning of the earth. Let your will say, the Superman shall be the meaning of the earth. I entreat you, my brothers, remain true to the earth, and do not believe those who speak to you of super-terrestrial hopes. They are poisoners, whether they know it or not. They are despisers of life, atrophying and self-poisoned men, of whom the earth is weary, so let them be gone. Once blasphemy against God was the greatest blasphemy, but God died. And thereupon these blasphemers died too. To blaspheme the earth is now the most dreadful offense, and to esteem the bowels of the inscrutable more highly than the meaning of the earth. Inscrutable. Impossible to understand. Impossible to understand. Read. Esteem the bowels of the inscrutable more highly than the meaning of the earth. Once the soul looked contemptuously upon the body, and then this contempt was the supreme good. The soul wanted the body lean, monstrous, famished, so the soul thought to escape from the body and from the earth. Oh, this soul was itself lean, monstrous, and famished, and cruelty was the delight of the soul. But tell me, my brothers, what does your body say about your soul? Is your soul not poverty and dirt and a miserable ease? In truth, a man is a polluted river. One must be a sea to receive a polluted river and not be defiled. Behold, I teach you the Superman. He is the sea. In him your great contempt can go under. What is the greatest thing you can experience? It is the hour of the great contempt, the hour in which even your happiness grows loathsome to you, and your reason and your virtue also. The hour when you say, "What good is my happiness? It is poverty and dirt and a miserable ease, but my happiness should justify existence itself." The hour when you say, "What good is my reason? Does it long for knowledge as the lion for its food? It is poverty and dirt and a miserable ease." The hour when you say, "What good is my virtue? It has not yet driven me mad. How tired I am of my good and my evil. It is all poverty and dirt and a miserable ease." The hour when you say, "What good is my justice? I do not see that I am fire and hot coals. But the man is fire and hot coals." The hour when you say, "What good is my pity? Is not pity the cross upon which he who loves man is nailed? Is not pity the cross upon which he who loves man is nailed? But my pity is no crucifixion." Have you ever spoken thus? Have you ever cried thus? Ah, that I had heard you crying thus. It's not your sin, but your moderation that cries to heaven. Your very meanness in sinning cries to heaven. Where's the lightning to lick you with his tongue? Where's the madness which with you should be cleansed? Behold, I teach you the Superman. He is this lightning, he is this madness. When Zarathustra had spoken thus, one of the people cried, "Now we have heard enough of the tightrope walker. Let us see him too." And all the people laughed at Zarathustra. But the tightrope walker, who thought that the words applied to him, set to work. But Zarathustra looked at the people and marveled. Then he spoke thus: "Man is a rope fastened between animal and Superman, a rope over an abyss, a dangerous going across and dangerous wayfaring, a dangerous looking back, wayfaring, a dangerous looking back, a dangerous shuddering and staying still. What is great in man is that he is a bridge and not a goal. What can be loved in man is that he is going across and a down going. I love those who do not know how to live except their lives and be a down going, for they are those who are going across. I love the great despisers, for they are the great venerators and arrows for longing for the other bank. I love the great despisers, for they are the great venerators and arrows of longing for the other bank. I love those who do not first seek beyond the stars for reasons to go down and to be sacrifices, but who sacrifice themselves to the earth, that the earth may one day belong to the Superman. I love him who lives for knowledge and who wants knowledge, that one day the Superman may live, and thus he wills his own downfall. I love him who works and invents that he may build a house for the Superman and prepare earth, animal, and plants for him, for thus he wills his own downfall. ببینو ایرو بزنید سوپرمن و بستیلش چی بود باشه. The Superman is the meaning of the earth. Let your will say, the Superman shall be the meaning of the earth. I love him who works and I love him who loves his virtue, for virtue is will to downfall and an arrow for longing. I love him who keeps back no drop of spirit for himself, but wants to be the spirit of his virtue entirely. Thus he steps as a spirit over the bridge. I love him who makes a predilection and a fate of his virtue. Thus for his virtue's sake he will live or not live. I love him who does not want too many virtues. One virtue is more virtue than two, because it's more of a knot for fate to cling to. I love him whose soul is lavish, who neither wants nor returns thanks, for he always gives and will not preserve himself. I love him who is ashamed, and when the dice fall in his favor, and who then asks, "Am I then a cheat?" For he wants to perish. I love him who throws golden words in advance of his deeds, and always performs more than he promised, for he wills his own downfall. I love him who justifies the men of the future and redeems the men of the past, for he wants to perish by the men of the present. I love him who chastises his God because he loves his God, for he must perish by the anger of his God. I love him whose soul is deep even in its abilities to be wounded, and whom even a little thing can destroy. Thus he is glad to go over the bridge. I love him whose soul is overfull, so that he forgets himself, and all things are in him, thus all things become his downfall. I love him who is of a free spirit and a free heart, thus his head is only the bowels of his heart, but his heart drives him to his downfall. I love all those who are like heavy drops falling singly from the dark cloud that hangs over mankind. They prophesy the coming of the lightning, and its prophets they perish. Behold, I am a prophet of the lightning and a heavy drop from the cloud, but this lightning is called Superman. When Zarathustra had spoken these words, he looked again at the people and fell silent. There they stand, he said to his heart, where they laugh, they do not understand me. I am not the mouth for these ears. Must one first shatter their ears to teach them to hear with their eyes? Must one rumble like drums and lengthen preachers? Or do they believe only those who stammer? They have something of which they are proud. What is it called that makes them proud? They called culture. It distinguishes them from the goatherds. Therefore they dislike hearing the word contempt spoken of them. So I shall speak to their pride. So I shall speak to them of the most contemptible man, and that is the ultimate man. And thus spoke Zarathustra to the people.
اینجا شوێنەکەی کە پێشتر لێمە خوێندەوە زۆر گەرمە ئیتر بە حساب شوێنم گۆڕگە بەزم بکەم زۆرەشە لەرە نازانم وڵاتیان بەردەوام بیان نابەز بە جارێکە بزانین.
It is time for man to fix his goal. It is time for man to plant the seed of his highest hope. His soil is still rich enough for it. His soil is still rich enough for it. But this soil will one day be poor and weak. No longer will a high tree be able to grow from it. Alas, the time is coming when man will no more shoot the arrow of his longing out over mankind, and the string of his bow will have forgotten how to twine. I tell you, one must have chaos in one to give birth to a dancing star. I tell you, you still have chaos in you. Alas, the time is coming when man will give birth to no more stars. Alas, the time of the most contemptible man is coming, the man who can no longer despise himself. Behold, I shall show you the ultimate man. What is love? What is creation? What is longing? What is a star? thus asks the ultimate man and blinks. The earth has become small, and upon it hopes the ultimate man, who makes everything small. His race is as inexterminable as the flea. The ultimate man lives longest. We have discovered happiness, says the ultimate man, and blink. They have left the places where living was hard, for one needs warmth. One still loves one's neighbor and rubs oneself against him, for one needs warmth. Sickness and mistrust count as sins with them. One should go about warily. He is a fool who still stumbles over stones or over men. A little poison now and then that produces pleasant dreams, and a lot of poison at last for a pleasant death. They still work, for work is entertainment, but they take care of the entertainment does not exhaust them. Nobody grows rich or poor anymore. Both are too much of a burden. Who still wants to rule? Who obey? Both are too much of a burden. No herdsman and one herd. Everyone wants the same thing. Everyone is the same. Whoever thinks otherwise goes voluntarily into the madhouse. Formerly, all the world was mad, say the most acute of the men blink. They are clever and know everything that has ever happened, so there is no end to their mockery. They still quarrel, but they soon make up, otherwise indigestion would result. They have their little pleasure for the day and their little pleasure for the night, but they respect health. We have discovered happiness, say the ultimate man and blink. And here ended Zarathustra's first discourse, which is also called the prologue. For at this point, Boston. For at this point, the shouting and mirth of the crowd interrupted him. Give us this ultimate man, O Zarathustra, so they cried. Make us into this ultimate man. You can have the Superman. And all the people laughed and shouted. But Zarathustra grew sad and said to his heart, They do not understand me. I am not the mouth for these ears. Perhaps I lived too long in the mountains, listened too much to the trees and streams. Now I speak to them as the goatherds. Unmoved is my soul and bright as the mountains in the morning, but they think me cold and a mocker with fearful jokes. And now they look at me and laugh, and laughing they still hate me. There is ice in their laughter. But then something happened and silenced every mouth and fixed every eye. In the meantime, of course, the tightrope walker had begun his work. He had emerged from a little door and was proceeding across the rope, which was stretched between two towers and thus hung over the people and the market square. Just as he had reached the middle of his course, the little door opened again, and a brightly dressed fellow like a buffoon sprang out and followed the former with rapid steps. Forward, lamefoot, cried his fearsome voice. Forward, sluggard, intruder, pallid face, lest I tickle you with my heels. What are you doing here between towers? You belong in the tower. You should be locked up. You are blocking the way of a better man than you. And with each word he came nearer and nearer to him. But when he was only a single pace behind him, there occurred the dreadful thing that silenced every mouth and fixed every eye. He emitted a cry, like a devil, and sprang over the man standing in his path. But the latter, when he saw his rival's triumph, lost his head and the rope. He threw away his pole and fell, faster even than it, like a vortex of legs and arms. The market square and the people were like a sea in a storm. They flew apart in disorder, especially where the body would come crashing down. But Zarathustra remained still, and the body fell quite close to him, badly injured and broken, but not yet dead. After a while, consciousness returned to the shattered man, and he saw Zarathustra kneeling beside him. "What are you doing?" he asked at length. "I have known for a long time that the devil would trip me up. Now he is dragging me to hell. Are you trying to prevent him?" "On my honor, friend," answered Zarathustra, "all you have spoken of does not exist. There is no devil and no hell. Your soul will be dead even before your body. Therefore, fear nothing anymore." The man looked up mistrustfully. If you are speaking the truth," he said then, "I leave nothing when I leave not life. I am not much more than an animal which has been taught to dance by blows and starvation." "Not so," said Zarathustra. "You have made danger your calling, and there is nothing in that to despise. Now you perish through your calling, so I will bury you with my own hands." When Zarathustra had said that, the dying man replied no more, but he motioned with his hand as if he sought Zarathustra's hand to thank him. In the meantime, evening had come, and the market square was hidden in darkness. When the people dispersed, for even curiosity and terror grew tired. But Zarathustra sat on the ground beside the dead man and was sunk in thought. Thus he forgot the time. But at length it became night, and a cold wind blew over the solitary figure. Then Zarathustra arose and said to his heart, "Truly Zarathustra has had a handsome catch today. He caught no man, but he did catch a corpse. Uncanny is human existence, and still, without meaning, a buffoon can be fatal to it. I want to teach men the meaning of their existence, which is the Superman, the lightning from the dark cloud man. But I am still distant from them, and my meaning does not speak to their minds. To men, I am still a cross between a fool and a corpse. Dark is the night, dark are Zarathustra's ways. Come cold and stiff companion, I am going to carry you to the place where I shall bury you with my own hands." باشە هەرچەندەکەمە ئەوەنە زۆر نەبوو و نازانم چەند لاپەڕە بوو ئەسڵەن، بەڵام بەڕای من شتێکی باشە بووی کە بکەومەوە خوێندنەوە و تاکوێرە کتێبەکە تاوان کتێبی نیچێ و فەیلسوفۆ کۆزانین ئێوە پەیامێک بگەێنێت و لەواچە هەنە جارۆ شتانێکی ئێڵێ بۆ ئێمە بگاتە حاڵەتی کفر و بگاتە حاڵەتی گوناحە و ئەوانە و بۆیە وەکو با بڵێن لە سەرڕووییەوە قسەکانی وەرناگرین و لەمانە قوڵەکەشی ئەگەر زانیمان ئێوە غەڵەتێ بکات لەوە شاوەری ناگریت و پێویستیش ناکە هیچ قسێکی وەرگری تەنها وەکو خوێندنەوە ئەتوانی بەشداریکی. بۆیە باجارەکە هیچ ڕای خۆم نەڵم لەسەر کتێبەکە کەی زیاتر ڕۆشتین ئەگەر زانیم هیەوەی مەقسەدی لەسەرکەم و کاتێ ئینشاءڵڵا دەستان خۆش بێت.